The science of stupid. Warning. This show proves that people minus science equals hospital food. Do not try these tricks yourself. This is The Science of Stupid, the television program filled with stupid stuff and smart science. The show with the crazy stunts, along with the hard scientific facts behind the smashes and smacks. We'll tell you about centripetal force and momentum. Be astounded as these brave buffoons discover explosives and the laws of rotation without the slightest idea of what they're doing. If you upset science, it'll crush you like a worm. Come on in to The Science of Stupid. On this show, we'll see what happens when momentum is converted into impact. We discover Hooke's law from 1660 and light up the night sky with gunpowder. But first, this. Trees. Don't you just love them? They're the lungs of the earth and homes for birds. You won't catch me chopping down a tree. And it's not just an environmental thing. Tree felling can be a very costly business. That hasn't gone strictly according to plan. So, tree felling is clearly best left to the pros. But can science help stop trees becoming weapons of mass destruction? You bet she can. A tree's centre of mass is the point at which its weight is balanced. Our old friend gravity will always want to pull a falling tree to the side at which its centre of mass sits. In other words, its heaviest side. To control the fall, lumberjacks shift the centre of gravity by removing weight from the tree's heavy side. Or change the direction of fall by applying force via a rope or chain. They cut a notch at the base to control the fall direction. But however well you cut the notch, trees will always tend to fall in the direction of the centre of mass. If the science hasn't convinced you that tree felling is best left to professionals, this probably will. This would-be woodsman has cut an expert notch, believing that he'll control the fall of the tree away from his house.
We just took out half the house.
You did. That could have gone better. Let's rewind to see why. If we freeze the clip here, it's clear to see that branch growth has made the tree heavier on one side, pushing its centre of mass towards the house. However neat the notch, it'll always struggle to counteract the centre of mass.
Oh my gosh! That was not good at all.
Thanks for clearing that up for us. Of course, in a built-up area, getting the science right is even more vital. Wouldn't want that tree falling in the road.
Oh my God! That's not cool, that's dangerous.
Not a resounding success, but rewind and we'll see that failure was always the most likely outcome. Freeze here, and we can see the tree clearly leaning to the left, with the centre of mass over the road. Cutting a notch was never going to change the outcome.
Oh my God.
Still not convinced by the evidence? Meet Brad. Brad's not getting bogged down with details like science. He's not interested in the tree being clearly heavier on the right.
What if that lands on you, Brian? It won't. It's gonna land on you. How do you know? Good. I'm angling it. It's gonna come like this, and then like that, and then it's gonna fall that way. Okay.
The centre of mass suggests that it'll fall to the right, Brad. But don't worry about that.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. This young man's done his homework. He's attached a rope that he'll pull on to control the direction of the fall. It's a technique used by professionals, you know. It's just that professionals tend to use a truck, not a slightly built college kid, for the pulling part of the operation. Here's a little scientific teaser for you. An airport next to the beach. How convenient. But why are those people running away? Who guessed why these holidaymakers are making a run for it? These twin engines generate a total takeoff thrust of up to 64,000 pounds. Some people think it's fun to hold on to the fence. That wind speed is almost 90 miles per hour, hurricane speed. Should have fastened your seatbelt. Breaking down. It's so embarrassing. I mean, 1 minute you're king of the road, and the next you're a damsel in distress. You need a tow. Like this. Okay, so it isn't as simple as it first appears. Towing's all about tension and stress. Sounds like marriage. Tension is the force exerted on a body when it's pulled in one or more directions. The effect of tension is stress on the part of the body being pulled. Tensile strength refers to the amount of stress that will make a material fail. For towing success, make sure that your towing point has enough tensile strength to cope with the stress placed upon it. Secure towing point with sufficient strength. Got that? Well, he hasn't. The strength of the Jeep's front wing is far from equal to the tension and stress created by the towing vehicle. It was a bit like anchoring a charging elephant to a block of cheese. Here's a question for you. Will hooking up 3 trucks in series create enough pulling power to shift this massive yacht? I think that's a no. A better method would have been to attach each truck to the boat in parallel. The pulling power would have been the same, but without the other trucks pulling at the front, the stress exerted on each truck would have been reduced. Once you've got the science cracked, there are a few practical guidelines to follow. Like making sure there's someone in the towed vehicle to steer it and apply the brakes when necessary. But these lads have put the science and technique together. Good strong towing point and someone in the car to control it. What could possibly go wrong? A little tip, keep the ignition on. If you don't, the steering lock is liable to engage when you turn a corner.
We just had a bad accident, mate.
He's perceptive, I'll give him that. If ever there was a leisure product designed to cause pain and humiliation, it's the pogo stick. It all starts as innocent fun. If you master the basics of powerful jump and landing angle, you can start thinking about tricks. Really? These experts fully understand the physics, using the energy of each successive bounce to gain enough air for them to show off their stunts. You can even use all that energy to execute a spectacular dismount. Here's another spectacular dismount. Spectacularly painful, I suspect. With so much potential energy stored and then released, correct landing angle is vital. Remember, the magic number is 90 degrees. You don't need to jump that high for your landing angle to cause problems. Hooke's law states that weight also affects the spring's compression. Can this suburban pogoer show us how it's done? No, we can't. The landing was near the magical 90 degrees, but his weight wasn't over the stick. A seasoned street performer, at last a professional to demonstrate the science and technique. There he goes, a full understanding of Hooke's law as he uses the energy from each bounce to gain impressive air. And if he keeps landing at 90 degrees, all that energy will send him straight back up. I've never been to a pole dancing club. That's why I need to pay particular attention to the next item. Oh, that wasn't what I was hoping for, to be honest. So it appears that pole dancing isn't all about sensuality and seduction, but it is all about science. Most pole dancing involves the dancer spinning around the pole, which acts as a central pivot. Gravity is always pulling the dancer's body down. So they need to counter that gravitational pull with friction. Dancers do this by keeping as many points of contact as possible on the pole at any one time. Minimal clothing maximizes skin contact with the pole, helping to increase friction. Has this amateur enthusiast been consulting the textbooks? I'm afraid not. No, she hasn't. It was a good start. Bare feet for extra skin on the pole and 3 points of contact. But to rotate that leg, she has to move her hand, reducing a point of contact. To avoid accident and humiliation, the budding pole dancer needs to understand not only the science of technique, but also the science of levers. Pole dancers position themselves at right angles to the pole by using their limbs like levers. By pushing up on one lever and pulling up with the other, they support their weight. Although their center of gravity is away from the pole. This increases the force on the pole by 60% more than the dancer's weight. So a strong, well-anchored pole is vital. This young scientist knows her friction, but she's forgotten her levers. If only she wasn't using a bargain basement pole. By pushing with her thighs and pulling with her arms either side of a join in the pole, she's subjected a natural weak point to unbearable strain. Perhaps it's just that science is a man thing. Maybe not. No. Even with a strong pole, it must be anchored top and bottom. Nobody wants 7 years bad luck. Ooh. Don't worry, I haven't gone mad. I'm portraying a child at a firework display. Fireworks have been around for over 2,000 years, and to this day, they are potentially very dangerous and should be treated with respect. Unlike this guy. Guy Fawkes. You get it? All fireworks rely on gunpowder for the explosive energy that sends them high into the sky or excites the metals that produce pretty colors. To understand the danger of fireworks, you need to understand the science of gunpowder. Gunpowder can burn very quickly because it contains most of the oxygen it needs to burn. In just 0.2 seconds, the gunpowder in a firework can reach a temperature that's hot enough to melt steel. When lighting a rocket, the exhaust gases produced by the burning gunpowder propel the firework into the sky. In stationary fireworks, like Roman candles, those exhaust gases travel in the opposite direction, spraying coloured sparks. In firecrackers, those gases move air extremely quickly to produce those trademark crackles that can be as loud as 170 decibels. So, let's recap. Gunpowder burns very fast, which is why you're advised to retire to a safe distance after lighting. In a rocket, the exhaust gases from the fast-burning gunpowder provide thrust for launching, provided the rocket's upward trajectory is not impeded. He may not be experiencing the thrust, but he is getting a very good demonstration of exhaust gases that can reach over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Do I need to remind you not to follow in his footsteps? A Roman candle held horizontally allows this young chap to give his friend a very personal insight into the fast burn and intense heat of a gunpowder explosion. It's also something you should never do yourself. Ever. I can't even class this as an experiment. Remember, those exhaust gases can reach 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Why is the only word in my head. Just why? In firecrackers, that gunpowder explosion moves air so violently that the crackles can be as loud as military-grade weapons fire. That was around 170 decibels. I said it was 170 decibels. Oh, never mind. So, let's recap. Gunpowder burns very fast. And very hot. Producing lots of noise. Of course, if you do find yourself in a firework calamity, it's vital that you stay calm. At least that one worked.
That was awesome!
There's just time to remind you not to try any of the experiments you've just seen. If you choose to ignore my advice, don't come crawling to me for a cuddle when you get hurt. You've been warned. Don't try this at home. Well, not this, I'm just sitting here, but any of the things we saw people doing that were dangerous. Bye.